Every Sunday, men and women are praising God in this makeshift church. They are refugees in a foreign country, forced to flee their homeland. Underneath the cheerful singing is a lot of hurt. Alal Omot and her children and hundreds of other families fled violence in their native Ethiopia and now live in this refugee camp in South Sudan. The story of the Anuak, mostly Christian farmers in West Ethiopia, might sound all too familiar in volatile parts of the world, but it has a surprising twist. The members of the tribe were beaten, raped, had family members killed, and were pushed out of their village in the name of development, bankrolled with the money from a household name: the World Bank.
We all know that the World Bank gives billions of dollars to development projects around the world. But what most people don't know is that these projects have unintended consequences that sometimes harm and even kill people. Our team has traveled to 13 different countries and reported on the ground from displaced communities. We estimate that over the last decade, at least 3.4 million people have been physically or economically displaced by projects funded by the World Bank. These are people who lost their homes, some or all of their land, or a part of their livelihoods.
The World Bank denies responsibility for abuses that took place in a number of these cases. In Ethiopia, the problem started a few years back, when the government told the Anuak that they had to move from their land to new villages at sites selected by the authorities. The Ethiopian government maintains that its so-called villagization efforts are done purely to improve the lives of the Anuak. But according to the Anuak themselves, their old lives weren't too bad, and they didn't want to move.
So the business people, they say that we don't want any villagization program. We haven't any interest of this program.
Officials from the World Bank deny that money from the bank financed Ethiopia's mass resettlement campaign. But an investigative panel at the World Bank itself has found an operational link between the bank's project and villagization efforts. A former Ethiopian official confirmed a link as well.
Workers who are assigned to the villagization program, and we were being paid this money. This is the World Bank fund.
The World Bank has an obligation to check where its money is going, and the World Bank has an obligation to resettle people who are displaced from their homes or their livelihoods in equal or better conditions. What our investigation found is that on a systemic level, they're failing to meet those obligations.
People's rights are not a game.
Around the world, from Washington, D.C. to Nigeria and Cambodia, people are protesting abuses they say were funded by the World Bank.
World Bank, you are empowering dictatorial tyrants in Ethiopia. World Bank.
The demonstrations come at a time when the World Bank is doing a once-in-a-generation rewrite of its policies. An initial draft of the new rules would offer more room for borrowers to sidestep the bank's standards.
So what this is really about is the future of development aid and whether it's possible to ensure that human rights are respected when you fund economic development.
For now, the dispersed Anuak hope and fight and pray that one day the World Bank will change its course and recognize their plight. In this dreary refugee camp in South Sudan, returning safely to their ancestral homeland is just a dream for the Anuak, at least for now.